Let's start with our webinar, our today's special webinar. And I officially welcome you, Dr. Fauzia Khan, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us over here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly, I have downloaded something from Wikipedia about you. So I would like to talk, about you to our audience over here. आज यहाँ पे आई थिंक लेट्स टॉक इन हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश टुगेदर बिकॉज हमारे साथ आज बहुत से बीएमसी और थाने म्युनिसिपल के भी जो एचएम्स प्रिंसिपल्स है वो भी जुड़ेंगे. So Dr. Fauzia Khan, well-known figure in Indian politics associated with National Congress Party. She is a member of the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of Indian Parliament from Maharashtra. She is a national president of Nationalist Mahila Congress. She was Minister of State with portfolios for school education, women and child development, cultural affairs, general administration, information and public relations, minorities development and protocol. She also heads the Federation of All Maharashtra Minority Education Organization and runs several educational institutions in Parbhani. So I once again welcome you, ma'am, from Parisar Asha and Women's Movement. And over to you, ma'am. Now we would be very much interested in listening to what your words of wisdom.
Thank you very much. May I know how many participants are there?
So right now, I can see 37 right now.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
So good evening, everyone. आप सबको नमस्कार. बहुत मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है आज. I'm feeling really privileged and happy to be speaking today to leaders in education, whose role it is to bring out society from darkness to light, from the darkness of ignorance to the light of bliss. Yes, true education has the potential to make life blissful. This is what I believe. I mean, of course, the right education. And I emphasize again, the right education. What then is the right education? Now, as leaders in education, we need to ask this question to ourselves. What is right education? I believe the right education is education that has the power to transform the learners, completely transform them. That education which has the potential to bring out a complete positive change in the learners. That which makes a person a learner for lifetime. Now, this I feel is right education. And Albert Einstein has said something like this. He says, education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. It is easier said than done. It's easier said than done to impart such education. You know why? It is because this implies that the teacher who is teaching these learners is herself or himself a lifetime learner who reads and reads. Such a teacher who constantly keeps upgrading himself or herself. Only such a teacher can evolve children into being lifelong learners. Now, this is the secret of the right education. A teacher. The teacher is the crucial element to the right education, I believe. During my formative years, that is during my own school days, I was fortunate to have teachers who were committed to their cause. Now, that was a long time ago. I'm now 64 years old. I have studied in a school run by missionaries. मैं जिस स्कूल में पढ़ती थी, लरीज और नन्स इसमें पढ़ाते थे. फर्स्ट एंटर्ड स्कूल, जब मैं पहली बार स्कूल में गई, मैं कुछ 3 वर्षों से कम की उम्र की होंगी, और आज भी मुझे वो स्पर्श याद आता है. सिस्टर मारिया, जो मुझे अपनी गोद में बिठाती थी, अपने हाथ से, she used to put these morsels in my mouth with her own hand, ever so lovingly. She was nothing but a mother. Now that feeling of warmth is there even today when I imagine it. She holding me in her arms or putting me on her lap and feeding me. I remember that teacher. So a teacher who is, I can see the alternative to a mother. Exactly a mother. That is what a teacher ought to be. So this is how I had many teachers, fortunately, who were dedicated, committed, and I feel I was one of the blessed ones. Another memory which I share with you is when I was a little grown up. I mean, I must have been in around the class 5. And at that time, my teacher, Sister Helen, she came and sat next to me on my bench. And with utmost clarity, she gave me instructions. She said, look, Fauzia, look, what makes your letters all crowded up on the page? It's because you are not maintaining a proper space between your letters. Look how your C is sticking close to your H. Maintain a distance between your two letters, and your handwriting will be good. She took my fingers in her hands and she made me write. Her little tips were like magic to me. A little revelation. Yes, if I take my line a little longer between the letters, it looks so really good. And if I pay attention to the even size of my letters, as she has shown me, my handwriting can be neat. So that's how I acquired a good handwriting. And I attribute it to those little tips which Sister Helen had given me that day. So, yes, for the right education, we need the right teachers. And this brings me another memory. It reminds me of another wonderful, committed, dedicated teacher. But this teacher was my brother's teacher, not mine. Well, my brothers are twins, and they had been very, very naughty in their childhood. All sisters and brothers, all of us went to the same school. But Sister Augusta taught my brothers. She did not teach me. One day, it was a holiday to the school, and Sister Augusta had kept a special class that day, an extra class, and she had called all the students. Now, my naughty little brothers didn't go to the class. Sister Augusta noted their absence. The next day, she caught them in the class again, and she said, Sat Saur, you didn't attend my class yesterday? They said, yes, sister, we were there sitting at the back. She said, do you think I'm a fool? You come and meet me tomorrow at my ashram. I shall be waiting for you. After school, you come and meet me. My brothers ran away. They didn't go to meet her. The next day again in class, she said, where were you two boys yesterday? Why didn't you come and meet me? They said, sister, we met you. We had come to meet you. But you were not there, sister. She said, I was not there. I was very much there, walking up and down with my umbrella, waiting for you. And you too dared not to come and meet me? Okay, come on. Now, after school, come and give me your address. I will come to your house and I'll speak to your father. What kind of nonsense is this, she said. My little two mischievous brothers, again they ran away. They thought sister will come home, she'll speak to our father, what will happen to us? But then, on one Sunday, when all our family was sitting together, the bell rings and the maid comes and tells us, Sister Augusta has come to meet your father. Oh my God, my brothers were, I don't know what they felt at that time. Sister Augusta has come to our house. And there she came in. We all were watching. She came in straight into our drawing room. She sat with my father and mother, and she started speaking to them. She said, Doctor, your daughters have been such good students. They have been such sincere students. But look at your boys. I can't afford to see them destroying themselves like this. They are so absolutely naughty. They don't study. They don't pay attention. They don't obey me. And she started crying. And we were watching her. She started crying, tears rolling down her eyes. And she kept sniffing into her handkerchief and saying, I'm sorry, doctor, I'm sorry. I don't know, you'll think I'm a mad woman coming to your house and crying like this. I'm very sorry, doctor. Please don't think I'm a mad woman. And she cried and cried for my brothers, for their life. Fortunately, my brothers are doctors today. These teachers who have shaped our lives have really made a difference. All my sisters and brothers are doctors, and all of us are what we are because these teachers were so dedicated and they imparted the right education to us. I'm truly blessed. I wonder whether any teacher like this we would see in these times. Well, the right education helps the learner to learn, as I say. Yes, learn to learn. It means to learn to acquire knowledge and skills and to remain a learner all life long. Knowledge is everything. Knowledge exists in everything from heaven to the earth. Knowledge need not be imparted. What is imparted is information, not knowledge. What the teacher must give the student is not information, but she must give the student how to search for, how to find out, how to acquire the knowledge that exists. I'm very fond of a quotation by William Allen. He says, education is not the answer to the question. Education is the means to answer all the questions. Now, this is a beautiful quotation indeed. Well, the right education also enables the learner to analyze that information that he or she has procured. The one who learns to appear logic, reason out the fact that one comes across, understands the why and how behind anything, किसी भी चीज के पीछे वजह क्या है, क्यों है, कैसा है, जो भी नॉलेज हमारी है, जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन हमको मिलती है, अगर वो इंफॉर्मेशन को हम एनालाइज करते हैं कि ये क्यों है, जो है वो क्यों है, कैसा है, ऐसे लर्नर का दिमाग वाइड हो जाता है, बढ़ जाता है. The horizons of the mind of such a learner expands beyond every boundary. और ये लर्नर एक साइंटिफिक एटीट्यूड के साथ बढ़ता है, क्योंकि वो एनालाइज करना सीखता है, लॉजिक सीखता है, रीजनिंग सीखता है. और कभी भी ये लर्नर अपनी जिंदगी में मिसलीड नहीं हो सकता है किसी भी ऐसे बिलीफ से जो एम्बिगुअस है, किसी भी ऐसे भावना से जो बहुत तीव्र है, बहुत बड़ी भावना है, टर्ब्यूलेंट है, लेकिन जिसमें समझदारी नहीं है, इसमें बह नहीं सकता है ऐसा लर्नर, क्योंकि उसको राइट एजुकेशन मिली है। और राइट एजुकेशन वो है जो चरित्र को बनाता है, जो मजबूत चरित्र बनाता है। इट बिल्ड्स अप द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ कैरेक्टर इन अ पर्सन, और ऐसा इंसान एक निडर इंसान बनता है, फियरलेस इंडिविजुअल, जिसके अंदर ताकत है, स्ट्रेंथ है टू फाइट टेम्पटेशन, जो बुराई से अपने आप को बचा सकता है, वो करेज रखता है, वो ताकत रखता है, वो स्ट्रेंथ रखता है, और जो सच बोलता है, who speaks the truth, lives by truth. This individual does not fear to act. कुछ करने से नहीं डरता है ये व्यक्ति। ये व्यक्ति जो भी करता है उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस को फेस करने के लिए तैयार रहता है, डिसीजन लेता है, एक्ट करता है, जो भी हो उसको मैं फेस करूंगा। ये फियरलेसनेस एक रैशनल इंडिविजुअल में ही आ सकती है। One who is rational in belief and does not become a blind follower of people or ideas. When people become blind followers, the society is doomed, because people are following without thinking. Our education must meet these objectives. ऐसे morally upright individual को बनाना हमारे शिक्षण का ध्येय होना चाहिए। और जीके चेस्टरटन नाम के एक राइटर है, वो उन्होंने कुछ कहा है जो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है। He says, education is simply the soul of a society. Education एक समाज की आत्मा होता है। It passes, as it passes from generation to another. It passes from one generation to another. एक पीढ़ी से दूसरी पीढ़ी तक ये आत्मा समाज की जाती है, इसको एजुकेशन कहते हैं। और राइट एजुकेशन से क्या होता है? सही शिक्षण से क्या होता है? सही शिक्षण से एक सभ्य इंसान बनता है। इट मेक्स अ पर्सन पोलाइट, sophisticated, refined, polished, and a person who cares for the well-being of others. ऐसा इंसान जो दूसरों के लिए अच्छाई सोचता है, who is human in the true sense of the word. एक इंसान है जिसमें सच्ची इंसानियत है, और जानवरों से अलग। He is not an animal. Although humans are animals, we are animals. But being human and being an animal, the difference is animals are self-centered. They can only think about themselves. But a human being is kind. He is able to invest a bit of his life for those around him. उसका परिवार, उसके पड़ोसी, उसके एसोसिएट्स, उसकी सोसाइटी, उसका समाज, उसके लिए वो अपना समय दे सकता है, अपना पैसा दे सकता है, अपना टैलेंट दे सकता है, अपना ज्ञान दे सकता है। ये जो शेयर कर सकता है किसी और के साथ, वो इंसान ही हो सकता है। अपने आप में that individual is unique and yet happily lives in harmony with others who are different from him. They may be different, he tolerates them. Such a human being is one who has received the right education. Again, I have a quotation of John Adams, and I love this quotation. He says, there are two educations. There are two educations. One should teach us how to make a living, and the other how to live. एक शिक्षण हमको ये सिखाता है कि हम कैसे कमाएं अपनी लाइफ में, और एक शिक्षण हमको सिखाता है कि हम कैसे जिए। तो दो एजुकेशन है। Yes, the right education has to fulfill both these goals. The new education policy gives a lot of hope. हमारी जो नई शिक्षण नीति है, जो नई सरकार ने लाई है, अगर उसका डॉक्यूमेंट हम पढ़ते हैं तो वो डॉक्यूमेंट पढ़ के बहुत आशा आती है। But after all, it is just a document. अभी वो implement होनी है, क्योंकि अगर implement होनी है तो उसके लिए सबसे ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण जो चीज है वो है पैसा, funding, allocation. अब सरकार ने कहा है इस नीति में कि एजुकेशन के लिए 6% पैसा जीडीपी का इसका प्रावधान इस पॉलिसी के लिए सरकार करेगी. हाँ, इस साल जब नीति तो आ गई है, लेकिन पिछले अधिवेशन में हमने देखा कि प्रावधान शिक्षण का तो कम हुआ है, बढ़ा नहीं है. लेकिन आशा करते हैं कि सरकार इसको बढ़ाएगी and the fund allocated will keep on increasing, because fund will be one very important element which will help in the implementation of this policy. It's a beautiful policy, no doubt, which tells us how to give the right education. This is the right word. But after all, everything will depend on implementation. Because इसको implement करने का काम सिर्फ सरकार का नहीं होगा, हम सबका होगा. It will be the responsibility of us all, the leaders in education. Without us making it work, it will not work, believe me. Because education is a bridge between you and a successful life. This is what Debashish Mitra says. Of course, the right education. Today, my dear brothers and sisters, I would also like to speak a few words on the importance of leadership roles in the background of the novel corona pandemic. Yes, it goes without saying that I have never seen, मैंने ऐसा कभी नहीं देखा, कभी नहीं सुना, कभी कल्पना भी नहीं की थी कि a pandemic could have such proportions, such dimensions. इतना फैला हुआ पैंडेमिक हो सकता है, इतना भयानक. मैंने तो अपने माता पिता को भी कभी ऐसा मेंशन करता हुआ नहीं सुना, ना अपने दादा दादी नाना नानी को सुना है. No, I have never heard. Neither have my parents, neither have my grandparents heard of such a pandemic, of such global proportions. It is simply unheard of, unbelievable, unimaginable, and it is horrifying today. It is everywhere. हर दिशा में, हर जगह ये फैल गया है. It is in every household. हर परिवार में है, हर घर में है. In cities and villages, among the poor, among the rich, among the people of all ages, छोटों में, बड़ों में, and it is simply refusing to stop. People are dying because there is no oxygen. Oxygen नहीं है इसलिए लोग मर रहे हैं. People are dying because there is no medicine. People are dying because there is no hospital bed. People are even dying because they do not want to go to a hospital. Can you believe that? कि आप ये बात मानेंगे कि लोग हॉस्पिटल को जाना नहीं चाहते हैं डर के मारे? किस बात का डर है? उनको डर है कि हॉस्पिटल में हमें मार दिया जाएगा क्योंकि हम किसी एक कम्युनिटी को बिलोंग करते हैं. Can you imagine that? इस तरह की भावना, इस तरह की सोच क्यों आ गई है? इस तरह की सोच. There are big waiting lists in graveyards and cremation grounds. The situation is absolutely horrifying. But one thing you see today, people are utterly confused. They are utterly confused. I tell you, people are losing hope. Some people are losing hope. Some people are just absolutely uncaring. Taking up leadership roles at this time is immensely necessary. We are leaders. We are leaders in education. Leadership is that which makes one feel responsible for those around us, for those around who are under our circle of influence. We should feel this sense of responsibility. This is the primary requirement in such a situation. And this is the primary characteristics of a leader. A leader is one who feels responsible for his team, for the ones who are under his circle of influence. What are other characteristics of a good leader? One we have already discussed, the habit of constant learning. Good leadership is, the character of a good leader is, he has the potential to think clearly. He has the ability to influence people. He has the capacity to strategize or to plan. He has the capability to engage a team and keep them motivated. He has the expertise. I think my time is coming to an end. He has the expertise in tackling difficulties, the talent to make quick decisions, the skill to decentralize and to delegate. All these faculties are needed in the situation today. So we leaders have to now take all these faculties together and we have to work. We have to break the chain. Yes, breaking the chain is absolutely necessary. And as leaders, we have to take the lead. Breaking the chain is the only solution and the only real challenge that we need to combat. People need to be educated. They need to understand why COVID-appropriate behavior is required. People need to understand and adopt the right behavior. They need to understand. Simply the rule of law is getting us nowhere. Because then actions are restricted to if one is under surveillance. If nobody is watching, I am not doing the right thing. अगर पुलिस वाला देख रहा है तो मास्क नाक के ऊपर है. अगर पुलिस वाला नहीं देख रहा है या कोई नहीं देख रहा है तो मास्क चिन के नीचे. ये दिखाता है कि हमें अवेयरनेस नहीं आई है कि हम मास्क क्यों पहन रहे हैं. हमने वो बिहेवियर अडॉप्ट ही नहीं किया है. हमें वो समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है कि मास्क पहनना क्यों जरूरी है. हमें ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है कि जब हम किसी सरफेस को टच करते हैं उसके बाद अपने फेस को टच नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारी उंगलियों पे वो वायरस होता है जो हमारे फेस को टच करने से हमारे अंदर चला जाता है. और अगर हम मास्क उतारते हैं चढ़ाते हैं उतारते हैं चढ़ाते हैं तो हम फेस को टच करेंगे. एंड आई हैव सीन मेनी responsible officers lowering their mask and touching their noses. You know, I don't have a mask because I'm alone. But if you touch a surface and touch your noses, then you are defeating the purpose of wearing the mask. People are still shaking hands, embracing each other, crowding in marketplaces, attending marriages, funerals, religious rituals in public places. My dear brothers and sisters, avoiding all this for a few days is nothing in comparison to what relief it can provide. And the leadership roles come in here. Aarti, can I speak for 5 minutes more? Yes, Aarti,
yeah, ma'am. Yes, please go ahead. It's all yours. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So people need to be influenced and educated. We must strategize in a way that we can bring about behavioral change within our circle of influence. Behavioral change is important. Brief addresses to people in videos or messages can be a great help. If each one of us takes the initiative, it will be really productive. All our leadership skills need to be utilized here, I think. The other horrifying impact of the pandemic is on the closure of small businesses. Very respectable families are on the verge of starvation, but their modesty doesn't allow them to reach out for help. देखिए, ये families ऐसे हैं कि जो बोल नहीं सकते हैं कि हम जरूरतमंद हैं, क्योंकि उनकी इज्जत उनको वो अलाउ नहीं करती है. हमको ऐसे लोग ढूंढने पड़ेंगे, ऐसे परिवार ढूंढ के उनकी मदद करनी पड़ेगी, और हमारे लीडर्स ने ये रोल लेना चाहिए. Another very important sector on which COVID has impacted is the sector of education. This field has been terribly impacted adversely. And this we need to speak. Private unaided schools are facing the most severe blow. Parents are refusing to pay the fees or are unable to pay the fees because of the closure of their own businesses. लेकिन इससे क्या स्कूल का कोई खर्च कम हो रहा है? नहीं. टीचर्स तो आज भी काम कर रहे हैं, इनफैक्ट ज्यादा काम कर रहे हैं क्योंकि ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन के लिए और ज्यादा काम है. बट स्कूल्स अफोर्ड नहीं कर पा रहे हैं सैलरीज. वो अपने टीचर्स को कुछ रिड्यूस्ड सैलरीज दे रहे हैं या नो सैलरीज दे रहे हैं. नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ, हाउसकीपिंग स्टाफ, इनके भी तो परिवार है जिनके पेट इनको भरने हैं, लेकिन ये इनको सैलरीज नहीं दे पा रहे. और कुछ लोग they are losing their family members due to COVID. Our staff members are losing their family members. Some of our children, our students are losing their parents, one parent or both parents. They are losing hope. They are sinking into despair. No, we cannot allow that to happen. We have to keep them hopeful, motivated, in better spirits. This is where our leaders have to utilize all their leadership skills and prevent their team from collapsing mentally, sinking into depression, landing into despair. We all must lift them up. It is our duty because leaders are superior beings. We are superior to others. So we should help them from collapsing. We must come up with plans to ensure that children who have lost their parent do not discontinue their education. They need to be helped the most. Students who can afford Android mobile phones may be taking advantage of online classes. But what about those children whose families cannot afford these handsets? Or they may be having just one handset in the family that is used for generic purposes. Maybe they need it elsewhere. So when there are connectivity issues, when there are such problems in remote areas, or when there is nobody to keep an eye on the child, बच्चा अकेला है, माँ बाप नहीं है देखने के लिए कि वो स्टडी कर रहा है या कुछ और कर रहा है. So all these children are being left deprived of education. As leaders, we need to make efforts to resolve these issues. Maybe we can mobilize mobile donations, mobile phone donations. This can be mobilized in our influence, circle of influence. We can try to ask the people who can afford, कि अरे एक पुराना mobile दे दो एक बच्चे को पढ़ने के लिए. If we make this efforts, maybe we can help a child learn. Or we can formulate some strategy or some plan that these students are not left out. At least from our circle of influence. This is needed today. There is one thing where COVID has given us cause to feel a positive impact, and that is adopting technology, adapting to technology. Our teachers have wonderfully adopted to these new changes. Wonderfully, they have done it. In certain cases, I feel online classes have given us even better learning outcomes than the actual physical classes. This is my experience. In my own school, in especially the pre-primary section, we have got wonderful outcomes in terms of reading abilities. And I'm able to see these children read, these 3 to 4-year-old children read sentences, because when the teacher is taking the Zoom classes, I also sometimes peep inside and see what they are doing. And I see these children, reading with jolly phonically, they are reading slowly, they are reading long, long sentences. And I am so amazed, how can these small children read so well? When we had regular classes, there were some children who couldn't read even after all the effort because they needed one-to-one attention. There were some children. But surprisingly, even these children have started learning to read in the online classes. Very few children are there now who cannot read, who are unable to read. So it's a very surprising revelation to me that online, maybe the presence of parents is making a difference, possibly, because parents are helping them out. But it is making a difference, and I can see online school results having better outcomes than actual physical classes. So this is truly surprising, and I wanted to share it. At the end, I would like to say that certain schools are using this opportunity of the COVID pandemic, which is a desperate situation, to the advantage of education. And they are using online interaction to produce better learning outcomes. They are holding newer competitions, more innovative activities. I can see songs, I can see so many different activities being taken by certain schools. And this is helping education, the right education. So hats off to these innovators, and we must all replicate them. All leaders in education need to replicate them. Well, I had all this to say today. I think I have exceeded my time. I'm very sorry for that.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It was really so much inspiring, and I really loved the way you said right education, because this is exactly what Parisar Asha has been preaching. Government says right to education, and we believe in right to right education. Yes, and very beautifully you had also mentioned about कमाने and जीने का तरीका सिखाना चाहिए education ने, जो I think हम लोग सिर्फ कमाने के पीछे लगे हैं, but आज जीने के लिए in fact तड़प रहे हैं, क्योंकि because of this pandemic we have realized the value of our lives. So this is something, yeah, there is always learning from every incident, every bad and good incidences in our life, and pandemic has really taught us many things. Technology is something, which we have learned. Everybody, in fact, we also never used to believe, like, you have worked with Parisar Asha. Gloria, she used to always believe in, hands-on activities and experiential learning. But we realize either there is education or no education because of pandemic. So immediately we also moved to this online thing, and now Parisar Asha has a complete, a different online platform where we are catering to the schools now. So
that's very nice to hear that.
Yes. So before we, open this forum for everyone, because I'm sure everybody, almost 51 people are here, of course, including us, but they would like to, connect with you and ask you questions. So before that, I would, like to take this opportunity to present you a short video about Parisar Asha. I'm sure this will be nostalgic to you also when you will see that video. So Sukhada, can you please, can you please, Sukhada, play the video?
Natural qualities. We have all experienced these qualities when we were young. But as we grow up, we forget our natural qualities. Rather, we are forced to forget. Can we dream of a learning system where our natural qualities are encouraged for future sustainability of the individual and also our planet? Parisar Asha is Gloria's dream to change the education system, to provide joyful learning for a sustainable future through the environment, for the environment. Gloria D'Souza, a school teacher, created revolution in the history of Indian education with her not-for-profit registered trust, Parisar Asha. Gloria was the first Ashoka Fellow and has been awarded with international recognition as a social entrepreneur. Today, Parisar Asha is spearheaded by Ms. Aarti Savoor with a team of professionals from various national and international backgrounds. Parisar Asha is supporting public and private schools to provide affordable, joyful education at par with global standards.
Government says right to education. We believe at Parisar Asha right to right education. To support our educational institutions to provide quality education and also creative education, Parisar Asha has various unique programs. One of the signature program is Ecotech World School program, because what we believe that today the need is to be eco. Eco is not only your environment, but it can be also your economy, and tech is a technique to live life.
Ecotech World School program is a wholesome program to empower schools to address the challenges of 21st century educational needs while maintaining the fundamentals and identity of the school intact through its unique pedagogy of ESOL, Environmental Studies Approach Towards Learning. This comprehensive program provides global curriculum suitable for State Board and CBSE syllabus for nursery to Standard 7, detailed lesson plan guidelines, digital and traditional teaching aids, virtual classrooms, worksheets and workbooks, assessment and evaluations, teachers training to develop academic skills as well as soft skills, and parents orientation. In a nutshell, a complete support system to create tomorrow's successful, positive, global citizens. Environment, school, teacher, and parent. These are very important factors in the child's learning process. To complete this chain and to address parental issues, Parisar Asha has launched a free helpline number.
It gives me great pleasure to be here at this global symposium on soul in education organized by Parisar Asha, which is taking government's initiative of right to education a step further by promoting right to right education.
एजुकेशन सिस्टम को थोड़ा सुधारे, थोड़ा क्रिएटिव ही बनाए, जैसी आपकी थिंकिंग है, तो मैं बड़ी खुश हो जाऊंगी क्योंकि आई एम अ पेरेंट टुडे.
Yeah. So this was a very small presentation of Parisar Asha, and we are doing a lot of work even during pandemic, ma'am, and we started many new initiatives. So we would like to get connected with you maybe later, like off screen. And also, like, along with handling the responsibilities as a CEO, for past 8 years, this is my second inning with Parisar Asha actually. In fact, during your time when, when we used to work with your schools, I was a kid, I can say, in Parisar Asha, and this is my second inning after a break of 10 years with, corporate world. So it was Gloria's last wish that I should come back to Parisar Asha, and the day I joined, next day she expired. So it's been, like a big thing for me. Like Parisar Asha has been my own baby now. And along with Parisar Asha, I had been associated with various organizations, and one of the very important organization is Women's Movement. I'm the executive chairperson of that Women's Movement. And I would like Ram Maheshwari sir, who is the founder of this Women's Movement, and also had been, like on a very big post, like he was a director of Times Group. He was also director of NMIMS Management College, and he was also director of SP Jain Management College. So Ram sir, would you like to, like just brief madam about Women's Movement? So it will be very nice. Sir, you are on mute. Sukada, can you? Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Aarti, and This is a great opportunity for me to meet Dr. Fauzia Khan. I have heard so much about her as the education minister, and thank you for getting me across to this leader. So many education leaders are there. I'll just take 2 minutes, especially because Madam is here. Aarti is our executive chairman of this women's movement. Let me clarify, I was not the real founder of this movement. The movement was founded by Indu Jain, the chairman of Times of India. And just a minute I'll take to tell you what happened. You know, soon after 9/11, when this thing happened in America, Induji started calling various people to ask a question: why is there so much of violence in the world? What is wrong with the world? And she said that so many women are there in the world, and women are generally non-violent. Even then, there's so much of violence. There are 3-4 billion women in the world, and by and large, 99.9% women are peaceful. They're compassionate. So then we realized after a series of discussions that half of these women, or even more than half, they're suppressed. So although they have so much of love and compassion within them, but that doesn't come out because they are suppressed because of various reasons, economic or educational or earning, whatever. So there she founded this movement to de-suppress the suppressed women. The movement is not for the women. The movement is actually meant for the all men as well as women, but it is through the women because women are compassionate. So we decided to de-suppress the suppressed women. I would like to take this opportunity separately with Dr. Khan to indulge with her and tell her more about it at a later date, because today is the education forum.
I love that, yes.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to be
Thank you.
associated, to know more about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Aarti.
Yeah, thank you, Ram sir. So now the forum is open for everyone. Any questions for ma'am? You can, unmute yourself. You can start your videos and you can interact with ma'am.
So I'm just breaking my fast by the time somebody asks a question.
Yeah. Oh. Ma'am, I'm actually grateful, and I'm so sorry that we didn't know. I mean, it didn't strike me that, to invite you during this time, and
it's all right.
It's
I'm always there. We are always working in our field. There's no time for anything.
Okay.
So please continue.
Yeah.
The question may be asked.
Yeah. So yeah, audience, over to you now. Any questions for ma'am?
May I start with the first question, if you permit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really impressed by Dr. Fauzia Khan, that she is so full of humility. She has been education minister, and she is still so approachable. And that is what I believe in, the power of compassion, the power of the women. We say that women are the weaker sex. I don't believe so. I knew that my chairman, Indu Jain, was a very powerful human being. So, Madam, how did you manage with so much of humility to lead such an important portfolio? How did you sort of handle all the aggression around, all the, all the political school leaders, all kinds of people?
I've not found it very difficult. When I entered politics, I was a reluctant person. I think when Gloria was we were associated with each other. At that time, I was not there in politics, I think. I don't remember properly. But then through this education line, I became a little, known to people in my area. And then somebody approached me, will you stand for election for the municipal council president? I said, no, that's not my field. I can't do it because, that's, I thought politics is a dirty field. I can't enter that. I'm into the noble field of education. At that time, that was the kind of thinking I had. But then my family persuaded me. Finally, I contested that election and I lost it by a very narrow margin. And then Honorable Sharad Pawar ji, he just simply nominated me in a few days' time. He was watching, he watches people. And he was watching the way we campaigned and all, and the way we didn't approach him, didn't ask him for anything. So on his own, he rang up to me and he said, I'm nominating you, ma'am, to the Legislative Council. And that's how I came into politics. And I started working in the Legislative Council, and I found it was so challenging and so nice. It was such a much wider sphere of work. Same work that we do now, but that's much wider. That's how I felt it was. And then I could win the Best Legislature award at the hands of the President of India. And then I was renominated, and then I was made minister, and I had 8 portfolios, they trusted me with 8 portfolios, but never, one of them was education, one of them was health, my portfolios. And I could do work with ease without any discomfort. I never felt I was a woman or I was somebody who didn't have a background or anything. So it was very smooth sailing. Yes, but when you come into the real political fight, elective politics, I mean, then you have opposition, and then you have, but I've never contested any election. I've always been nominated. Now to the Rajya Sabha also, I have gone through such a route only. So I don't have that active political challenges around me. That's what I can say.
Wonderful.
Ma'am, I have a question. Aarti?
Yeah, sure.
A very good evening to you, Fauzia ma'am.
Good evening.
It's always nice to hear from you, Maheshwari sir. Yeah, so ma'am, the question to you is, I'm a mentor with Parisar Asha for many years, and I totally agree when you said that teachers have embraced technology like never before. But the big question hangs in the air, how are we going to do? Are we really going to continue with this half an hour class every day, or is it going to be more? Can the teachers share more with the children, or is the government going to help us here? And what is going to happen to the pre-primary section?
Yes, good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we have to combat 2 different challenges here. One is imparting the education, and one is protecting children from the harmful effects of the mobile phone or whatever. So that is why the government has said that it has to be reduced timings. But practically, I feel these timings are really very difficult. It's very hard, with small children in such a small amount of time. How do you really interact with them? How do you really make them feel? So what we have done in our school is we take a Zoom class for half an hour, but we also take an individual video call with students who are difficult to, they find it difficult to adapt or learn. So out of these timings, our teachers also call them up on video call, and then they sit with the parent and they talk, and that is helping. So half an hour class, I feel, is not very practical.
Yeah, it's true.
Vidya, you're on mute.
Okay, so what we observed in Parisar Asha also, that the children have, initially parents had apprehensions about exposing the children to the mobile, and there was a lot of outcry about the schools imposing this on them and so on and so forth. But there has been a realization among parents also that teachers are trying their best, and children are very open to online teaching. So if the time limit can be increased, then the children in the primary level can gain more from teachers' knowledge. So
I will,
we sincerely
sorry.
hope that the government issues some directives towards that.
Yeah, I will try to talk to the Minister for Education regarding this. Even I believe that we need to increase the time a little bit. And definitely the children are already exposed to mobiles. Even if they are not learning, they have mobiles in their hands. Nobody can deny that. Every parent is giving these mobiles to their children to play. So as it is, they are exposed. So why not education? I will definitely talk to Ma'am Varsha Gaikwad. I'll talk to her because this is a state policy that you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, since we work with all lower income group schools, as you know, and especially state board schools, like Parisar Asha is for state board schools where we provide our curriculum and teaching aids and our worksheets. So these private schools are really going through, troubled time because parents are not paying, and I think they are not able to sustain their teachers. The teachers are not getting salaries, so their moral is really low right now. So I mean, and government is also, I think, not in favor of taking fees from the parents, because they are asking them to reduce the fees for because it's online. So most of the parents feel online में क्या करते हैं करके.
That's right. They don't realize.
Yeah. So how are you? What are your experiences with your school? Because you're also running these institutions in Parbhani. So
yeah, it's the same. It's the same. Many parents are not paying the fees. We are trying to persuade people. So somehow we are trying to make both ends meet, but we are not able to pay full salaries to our staff as well. We are reducing salaries and our staff is cooperating because there's no other way. But if this continues for a long time, I don't really see how it can be dealt with. Today we got a Supreme Court judgment, which says a new judgment has come, which says that you cannot take more fees for online teaching and it has to be only as far as online teaching is concerned. But they don't I don't know what to do about this because salaries are, of course, salaries.
Like there are peons, there are, like your overheads. I mean, electricity, those schools are not running, but then you must be getting those bills, right?
Certainly.
So
all the overheads are there. There's no reduction in expenditure.
Yeah. And it's not that of course, I do understand, like many parents, they must have lost their jobs. They also must have gone through salary cuts. But people who can pay, at least they should pay. So I don't know, there has to be some way out to this situation, because with the second wave again coming in, we don't see the future of, even for this academic year. The coming academic year is also very dark. Right?
I don't think the perspective towards this is wholesome. Because I run schools myself, I can understand the situation on both sides. Parents go and represent to the government. So parents are naturally more in number.
Yes.
Their representation also is more powerful. And therefore, government is inclined to take decisions in favor of parents. But I think we also should represent. We should also be equally strong in our representations. People are representing, but it has to be still more powerful.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, okay. So any advice from your end to the private school principals, owners and trustees? Because I'm sure they must be, eager to hear from you. What is your piece of advice for them?
No, at this time, we need to, have patience. That's the only thing, because we will come out of it, but we have to somehow sustain ourselves. And we have to take our staff into confidence, because without that, it's very hard. And their houses have to run, their homes, their families also are based on our earnings. So somehow we need to work our budget in such a way, whatever little earning the school is making, we have to make sure that it's going to the right place. Somewhere a staff member may have another earning member in the house, and a staff member may be a sole earner. So we need to be a little more inclined to the one who's the sole earner. We need to protect each other. we are just one family. And like a family, we need to really save each other, protect each other, and as far as possible, helping each other and try to come out of this.
Absolutely.
May I say, speak, Aarti?
Yeah, Noeline. Yeah.
Yes. I just want to say to Fauzia, I don't know if you remember me, but I have
I do remember you, Noeline, very much.
Noeline, your video is not on or what? We can't see you.
I don't know, it doesn't matter, but I'll just say congratulations to Fauzia. She has been an educationist and she has surmounted great barriers to be where she is. And Fauzia, I have wonderful memories of you and you know your vision for children and vision for education. So
Noeline,
nice.
I wanted to see you. Please put on your camera. I wanted to see you.
I don't know how to do it, Fauzia. I'll try.
Yeah. In between, we could see you, Noeline, with your gray hair.
Just press that.
Yeah.
You've done it. You've done it, Noeline.
I've done it, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Noeline, how nice to see you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm so happy. How is Ali?
Ali is good now. He's a father. He has a daughter, 3-year-old daughter. So I remember you used to advise me, don't leave him alone.
Yes, yes. Wonderful days we spent together and lovely warm memories.
Yeah, and you look so beautiful, Noeline.
All the best, all good wishes, Fauzia. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Noeline.
Thank you, Aarti.
Yeah. So anybody else would like to ask or share with ma'am? Please switch on your videos, audios.
I just want to add something apart from women's movement. As a media person, you know, I always believe that teachers are great influencers. You know, they can, one principal, one headmistress, one teacher can influence thousands of lives. So there's one thing which I think I'll request Dr. Fazia also to suggest and comment, that I think we must increase the facilities being given to teachers maybe after the pandemic. We must attract more talent. We should give higher salaries. We should attract the best people in the education line. Unfortunately, in this country, whosoever doesn't want to go anywhere else in corporate, they come to teaching, which is changing. The salaries have been increased some time back, but I think it has to be done even more because teachers make the country. No, Dr. Fazia?
Yes, you are absolutely right. They deserve much more.
Yes.
And countries who pay better salaries have a better education system. And as I said in my talk, that the NEP says that they'll increase allocation for education.
Yes.
That means better salaries. So
Absolutely.
we hope to see a better future in education if this policy is really implemented well.
Thank you.
Aarti ma'am, may I speak?
Yeah, please.
Good evening, Fauzia ma'am. Good evening, Aarti ma'am, Ram sir also, and all the members who have joined here. Ma'am, I would like to add something to your suggestion regarding the mobiles. I am heading an aided school, so you can understand the condition of the children and the parents at present. One thing we have seen is we requested parents and we shared the mobiles between neighbors, family, along with looking at social distancing also. This has helped quite a few of our children because some of them had only one mobile and that was a regular mobile, not a smartphone also, which is required for the Zoom calls. And hence I feel your suggestion of asking parents to give mobiles, as well as sharing mobile between 2 or even 3 children at a time, because some of these families have 2 or 3 children themselves, and that one mobile was insufficient, though I tried my best to handle the timetable in such a way that no child is left out. But there would be times when children were left out. So we formed peer groups, and I think this would be a better option, that peer groups help the other children to, even if they missed out, to do it. But then we had to convince several parents, especially in the pandemic, as everyone is aware, nobody would like somebody to come to their house. But then we tried and made arrangements in the gallery of the buildings or in the corridors. And at times we have called a few children to school with social distancing and a teacher coming in and teaching. So I think these suggestions would be very good. Second thing, I feel the parents have been very hassled. Many of them have lost their jobs, and you are looking into the problems. You are also running schools, so ma'am, you are better equipped to answer that question also. But I would also suggest that there are parents who can afford but do not pay. This burdens the school, especially aided schools like ours, wherein certain, what should I say, costs are recurring costs. So you cannot stop them. We have to do it. I mean, like Aarti ma'am rightly pointed out, we are not using electricity, but electricity is still being used. You're getting the bill for electricity, for water. So therefore, if you can help schools, aided government schools especially, where parents really cannot afford to pay fees, though the fees is quite small, the amount is quite small, would be appreciated, especially during the pandemic. And of course, help to the teachers after the pandemic, yes, would also be appreciated. Thank you, ma'am, for listening to me. Thank you, Aarti ma'am and Ram sir also.
I appreciate your leadership role in devising strategies, and you have wonderfully done it by making the sharing of mobiles and all that. That's the thing that is expected, and you are doing it. So we are meeting the challenges.
Yes, ma'am. We had a lot of problems because, like I said, several parents had regular phones, not smartphones. So that was one of your suggestions, which you had already suggested, was tried out, but we didn't meet with much success. But this asking 2-3 children to sit together and putting the mobile in the corridor where all 3 children could see, that sort of a thing. We tried and managed something like that. So that was better. Maybe somebody else can also use the same idea which we have used.
Yes. Maybe one day will come when we'll be laughing at all these things that we were doing.
Yes, ma'am. We need to laugh and face it. Yes. Now also, I think laughter is the best medicine. That's the best way to face it also. Thank you, ma'am. Good wishes for Eid to you in advance, to you and your family. Thank you, Aarti ma'am.
There is Dimple Jain has sent a message to everyone, ma'am. This is really problem of all the schools, especially private school, who have not received salary for 6 months. So it's a request to you really highlight these problems of ours. As you said,
aided schools. Does she mean aided school?
I think it must be unaided school, isn't it, ma'am? Dimple, if you can speak up. Yeah, it's a private school.
Aided schools are getting salaries.
Yeah, aided schools are getting salaries, but unaided private schools, because
that's where the trouble is. And as she rightly said just now, that we even affordable, those who can afford also are not paying the fees, because they feel that the schools are looting them.
Yeah.
So it's a very bad sentiment. I don't know how we can get rid of. People really think badly that we are making money out of it and all that, and that's not nice.
But can't government help in some ways to, because finally we all need these schools also, na, where children are going to go finally.
I think we should represent. We should talk to the government. This side is not going to the government as strongly. So if you can build up some group which can go and represent, you should represent to the minister.
And also, ma'am, I think, may I add to that?
Yes,
I
sir.
think we should also use media pressure.
That's
because
right.
I think parents are thinking that schools are not spending anything, so why should we pay? But the fact of the matter is, they don't know that schools are nearly spending the same thing. Teachers have to be paid. Electricity, water is a very small portion, but the premises are there. They have not rented out the premises. So I think we should also use media to educate the public that schools are doing so much in this difficult period. They should support at least parents who can pay. I mean, they should have some shame. They should pay.
Sir, I would like to add something, Ram sir. I would like to say that the pre-primary is the worst affected because parents feel the teachers are not doing anything.
Pre-primary, yes, I agree with you.
And so there would be some representation would be appreciated.
Sir, I'd like to add here. I completely agree with you, Maheshwari sir. All big offices today are telling you to work from home.
Yeah.
And but they are paying their staff.
Yes. Yes.
And they just do the 8-hour work. They finish their data and they complete it. But the teachers work till late at night and have learned to make videos. And they make PPT presentations for the next day's class.
Yes.
There's so much of backstage work going on that this is something I think, yes, you're right, media should educate parents and maybe get some stalwarts in education to talk to parents on media or maybe through the newspaper or through tweet. All the politicians have tweets also, where it goes to parents and say, look, okay, we may have made a huge mistake earlier, but we need to rectify this. Otherwise, there's going to be a dominoes effect, and teachers are extremely innovative and creative. They can always bail out. So once teachers bail out, then we'll be left with, teachers with hardly any standards. And then what happens to our education system? So,
I think Parisar Asha, I can help out with the media also. And Parisar Asha can take a stand there. We'll try to influence through some education reporters. There are very good people in the media. It's not, and they will understand the issues. I myself know because my wife has been a teacher, so I know how much background work they are doing these days. They're doing much more work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this needs to be educated to the parents. Pre-primary, I can understand to some extent, but I think it's not fair even there because the teachers are still there. We have not sacked the teachers, No,
and private schools are really badly affected, very badly, and unaided schools especially.
So with Madam's help, we can do something. Maybe she can also give an interview to the media, and some other educational stalwarts like you can come forward. I can arrange some meetings with the media.
That will be very nice. That will be a great
Let's do it.
Yes.
Because this is going to last. The pandemic is not going away very soon.
Yes.
No, with the second wave, we have really lost hopes. In June also things will be normalized. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we need to also sustain, like all these teachers, their families, they need to sustain.
And
like how the health workers are good trouble, even teachers are also really struggling today.
And a very important point, Madam and Aarti, that pandemic is having its effect on the students also, the children also. So they need teachers. They need advice from teachers much more now,
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we can't neglect that fact, So
in fact, we work with so many schools where the situations in certain homes, because now we started doing these online parenting sessions. So we see their families and all. Many a times our schools are much, like safer places for these children than their homes. Unfortunately, they are caught up in the house, but online has really a good connect with the children today.
Absolutely. So I think let us make an attempt, Aarti. We can sit together with Madam separately also and plan out. Maybe we can do one interview, yours, Madam's, with some of the education reporters and try to publish in the print media, in TV. Yeah.
That will be very nice.
Sure.
I think from the messages that are there, it looks like people have a lot of expectation from me that I take this up with the government. So
Yes.
I have
Yes.
tried to do that, but I don't
Definitely.
think that will be of much help. But nevertheless, I will speak to the concerned authorities, but it has to be in a different way.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah,
Fauzia ma'am, we've seen that you've always helped us out, whether it's the aided or the unaided teachers. So maybe I should say a big thank you in advance before you take up the matter also.
So nice of you.
so I think let's close this over here, and thank you, ma'am. And we don't want to disturb you anymore. You can have your evening.
Iftar.
Iftar. So and all prayers to everyone. All of you, stay safe. Take care of yourself. And ma'am, thank you so much. It was really wonderful having you over here. And I'm really looking forward that we have, since we have reconnected, let's go. It will be a long-term association again with you and Parisar Asha and Women's.
Definitely. Thank you for having invited me. It's been a very enjoyable evening for me. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Ma'am, this is a token of gratitude from all of us. A big thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for it.
So thank you and good night to everyone.
Good night.
Night. Good night.
Thank you, Aarti. Thank you, ma'am.